Hi, I'm Maciej.
Hi, I'm Shemek.
And I'm Mauro, and we're so excited to be here today to tell you about FuseMind and the future of academic search.
So, here at FuseMind, we're creating an AI algorithm that can understand how students and researchers talk about academic resources, extracting insights from their opinions, and conveniently communicating these. And we launched publicly on Monday, and this time last week, we had 35 test users. And as of now, we have over 1,300 users.
There's 150 million research papers on circulation on the internet today. These papers are the torches that carry the light of human knowledge. The scientists that find the cure for cancer will do so because they had access to centuries of knowledge safely stored on these research papers. But with over 50,000 new papers published every week, students and researchers are finding it really hard to find papers that are actually relevant to them. The problem is that while the number of papers keeps increasing exponentially, the tools and measures to filter through these papers have only improved marginally. Google Scholar, which is the leading academic search engine of today, has failed to innovate on both the front and the back end. In fact, the only quality signal they offer for papers is a basic citation count that has been criticized by experts as borderline useless.
At FuseMind, we're introducing a much better alternative to citation counts by combining the power of communities with artificial intelligence. We are looking into social media, blogs, and other online sources, searching for mentions of research papers and extracting the insights from them. Then, our AI algorithm turns those insights into a quality score out of 100, allowing users to quickly find the best papers. We include this score in our handy browser extension that dramatically improves the user experience and augments Google Scholar. We would love to show you the demo of this during the Q&A.
So we believe the future of academic search lies in personalization. And as our next big step, we're working towards a model that will be able to determine the relevance of any research paper specifically for any given user, as opposed to just generically.
Now, right now, our AI only outputs a numerical score. But in the future, we envision it as a cross-platform digital assistant that can instantly give any student or researcher the access to the exact resource that they need. But let's circle back and talk a little bit about the team and what we each do. I'm personally intensely obsessed with users, interviewing, surveying, and running observations with 96 people so far. And this week, I coordinated our international launch, which led to an amazing response from the public with 1,500 likes, 116 comments, and 200 shares from people all around the world. In fact, we even saw university research departments sharing FuseMind with their students.
So I only officially became a machine learning geek about 2 years ago and have completed 17 courses on the subject since. And so my job at FuseMind is to use deep learning to understand users' attitude towards research papers, be it on Reddit, Twitter, or any other community we take a peek at. For example, I have used an LSTM recurrent neural network trained on millions of tweets to extract valuable contextual insights from users' comments.
I started working as a web developer when I was 14 and have since then been constantly seeking to challenge myself. At FuseMind, my day-to-day involves parsing and piping through 22 million of research papers and hundreds of millions of social interactions. My main responsibility is not only to create algorithms that are efficient in the long run, but also provide immediate solutions. One of the perfect examples of that is our users' favorite feature, similar paper recommendations, which we built using state-of-the-art LDA topic modeling.
So, back to business. Our current addressable market is made up of the 170 million students, academics, and researchers connected to the internet around the globe. And we're getting traction by leveraging the natural network effects occurring within academia. This week, without spending a penny on advertising, we've seen people from almost 90 different countries download our browser extension.
There is an AI-driven transformational shift happening in this space. The Chan Zuckerberg Foundation just acquired Meta, an AI startup mapping the scientific landscape. Microsoft has just acquired NLP startup Maluba. Google, over the last 3 years, acquired 12 AI startups, including research-focused DeepMind, which went for over £400 million. Just like FuseMind, all of these startups are working on deep learning for scientific and academic verticals. The market is AI, and the time is now.
So at this point in time, you're probably wondering how we're going to make money with this. The value in our company is our potential for growth. So that's why we're going to keep FuseMind completely free for anyone in the world to use so that we can enable viral growth. This way, we can quickly become a standard in academia, and that way, we believe that we're going to become an interesting opportunity of acquisition for Google, Microsoft, and Facebook. We're particularly interested in Google, and we think they're going to be particularly interested in us. We work with the design and development standards, and we're solving problems that they're leaving astray with algorithms that they could implement across a wide variety of their products, from Google Analytics to YouTube. Google Scholar's team is currently very small, with only 13 people working on a service that is falling behind the competition. So this is a perfect time for a classic Google acquisition.
We are asking for £30,000 for an equity of 10% that will give us a year of runway until seeking the next round of the investment. We would love to show you the cost breakdown during the Q&A.
Now, today there's 1,360 people from 89 different countries in the world that are already exponentially increasing their scientific productivity thanks to FuseMind. We have a chance to accelerate the rate at which humanity tackles its toughest problems to actually make the world a better place. Let's do it together. Thank you.
What a great start. So, Chris, AI, deep learning for academic search. What are your thoughts on FuseMind?
Okay, thank you. Well, yeah. I have to say I don't know much about AI, but I think I would like to, and I ought to. And I'm very impressed by the three of you, your passion for the area, and your obvious knowledge. I guess I think of it in two ways. One way is the specific application for your technology that you've defined, which is academic papers and so on and so forth. And I also was just thinking about the word relevance in a lot of the things that I remember working at Apple in direct marketing and stuff like that. And relevance is just like number one, number two, number three word. And I'm just kind of going through my mind because I've got a couple of companies, notably this Proofer would be one, with a potentially deal in communities and social media, and I have another one where we certainly have spoken about AI technologies, and that company is also running a conference about AI in October. So
We should go.
So I think it's pretty. I think that's pretty interesting. I did have some questions, and you say you're going to do a demo. Is that right? In the Q&A?
Yeah.
Oh, this is it. Oh, you're showing it there. I thought you were going to stick it up on the screen. Oh, okay.
Would you like us to walk you through that now, or? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to put it? You can't put it on the.
I think it's a little bit too last minute for that, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Basically, what would happen is that someone has run a search query on Google Scholar looking for some sort of research paper. Usually, they would just get these results, but we offer them the ability to open up the site, where they have all sorts of tools like the abstract, as well as paper cited and stuff. But this is where it actually happens. This is the AI that tells you the score that's based on the sentiment of these tweets and related blogs. So as you can see, that's the score breakdown. Twitter was very positive. Reddit was not so positive.
Okay. That's fantastic.
And I'm sure you can have a play with it if you want to.
Andy, do you want to comment?
Yeah, so I'd like to say thank you for your pitch, because I think it was a great pitch. And it's clearly a really interesting space that you're working in. But one of the things that worries me a little bit is that if Google only have 30, I mean, if it sounded a bit like I'd love later to spend a bit more time understanding exactly how the customer experience works and what data I'm going to get out of this. But it sounded from the description you gave a bit like you're trying to build Google and then sell it to Google. And if this is such a great opportunity, then why does Google only have 13 people working on it? And why? I mean, do you really know what they're doing behind the scenes? How do you know they're not about to launch Google Scholar 2, which would kind of blow your product out of the water?
I've personally spent a seriously long time researching exactly what it is they're doing. And obviously, we only have access to information that they let out on the public. But for example, I can confirm that Anurag, one of the founders of Google Scholar, at the end of last year in a conference, specifically said that Google Scholar is not working on result personalization, which is one of our biggest value propositions. One of the reasons we believe that they're not working so much on this stuff is because it doesn't generate revenue for them as of now. But with other players coming in, such as Facebook, such as Microsoft, we think this is something that's going to start blowing up. Sorry, what was the other part of your question? Why?
No, but I mean, sorry, how do you know inside what's really going on inside Google? I mean, how do you know that there isn't? And that again makes me think, the way that Google monetizes its kind of core business is through selling advertising on the back of that. How does that sort of commercial model translate into the academic world?
Well, with Google, what they're doing with AI and what they do with most of their projects is that they invest, and Larry and Sergey, what they work on is not what generates money. They're not working on AdWords. They're working on all the other cool stuff. And then they see ways that can feed in their advertising model. So for example, when they paid £400 million for DeepMind, there was no sort of financial outcome out of that. But now DeepMind is funneling their AI into the AdWords business, and this is exactly something that could happen with us. So that's part of the answer. And the other part of the answer is that Google's famous for sometimes forgetting to take care of something and then acquiring the right team to do it. It's what they did with YouTube. It's what they did with Android. It's what they did with Google Maps, Google Docs. The list goes on and on.
Lohan, you've remained very quiet over there.
Thank you. Great presentation. Have I got?
Bit of an echo on.
I'm in a big hall.
Can you turn the echo off of mic number 3, please?
Thank you. That's much better. Thank you. Good night. Oh no, that's better. There we go. Thank you. Great presentation. Nice to see another acoustician on the stage. I think it's very dangerous making any assumptions about what Google may or may not be doing. I don't think you can have any insight into what's going on. And I think making assumptions about why they bought DeepMind, I mean, we've all heard a variety of different stories about what the DeepMind acquisition was about. One that I heard recently was that it was geared towards optimizing the power usage in their data centers, and that price alone justified the acquisition in terms of the saving that they were making as a result of that. So I think you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and you don't know how that might manifest itself in future. However, the fact that they've only got 13 people working on Google Scholar suggests to me that they don't think that there's a money-making opportunity here, and that's where my concern is. You've said yes, you've got 170 million addressable market in terms of academics and students and people who... That actually, on a global level, isn't that big. And if Google are going to be interested in acquiring you, there has to be some sort of commercialization potential there. So my question to you is, where else can this technology be used beyond academia? How can you apply this algorithm for other purposes that may generate commercial models? Because I think building a business purely to exit to a larger buyer is a bit one-dimensional. What's your plan B?
Yeah, so definitely we are now focused on the smaller market of academia, and we really believe that our algorithms could be used to help researchers to actually develop their research. But on the other hand, this is basically a recommender system that we're working on. So we are looking into the social media, we're getting the interactions, and we're really pumping them into the AI algorithm that produces the score for each of the research papers. So the same logic could be applied as well to, for instance, the product reviews on Amazon, or videos on YouTube, or even the search results that are appearing in Google. Yeah.
As with every AI vertical, really, the challenge here is get it really, really well within the AI vertical, and then you can expand that architecture to, any commercial outcome.
Can I ask some more questions?
No, please do. We've got more time.
Oh, so just I understand that. So where are you all three in your studies, and what are you undergraduates, postgraduates? You probably said it, but I.
So we're all undergraduates.
Okay.
I'm a first-year student. We'll just lay out the little roadmap for you guys so that you guys...
First year sounds like
yeah.
Beginner.
Well, I'm actually 21 years old. There's a bit of a history there. But
Okay. Because you don't seem like a beginner.
So yeah.
I think that's a compliment.
Thank you. Yeah, we're all undergraduates, but even though Przemek has been working on his dissertation and Maciek and I have been doing part-time work, we've proved this year that we can really spend, every weekend, every, live hour working on this. And next year, Maciek and I are both quitting our part-time jobs. Yeah, Przemek.
Yeah, and I'm graduating this June, and so I will be able to full-time focus indefinitely on FuseMind.
Yeah, so as well the next year I'm working on my third year project. So we want to focus the third year project on working on NLP for FuseMind as well. So basically I'll be full-time working for FuseMind as well with the additional supervision of the PhDs or academics in our university.
Okay. And if someone was to invest, what would you use the money for?
So the general cost breakdown is £5,000 for marketing and management, £6,000 for a salary for Przemek because he's going to be working full-time on this, and £20,000 for IT and development. Do you want to?
Can I just ask one more question? So, is this just a sophisticated way of trying to get a job at Google, or is this really a business that you are creating here?
Let me tell you, if this was a sophisticated way to try to get a job at Google, then we would have done the e-commerce thing, you know? And then that would have been super easy and everyone would be really excited because there's a $1 billion market. We're trying to, this is something, and that especially that we saw during the lunch today, that this problem has just been left behind. And like researchers and students are dying to get this solution. And us ourselves, we've been using this and it's making our lives so much easier. So I personally really want to work on this. I don't know about you guys.
It's definitely the same.
Maybe you should know about that.
Oh, you launched last week.
Monday this week.
You launched Monday this week, and you've had 1,300 users. That's encouraging. What? How active have they been? What have they said?
So we're not yet able to measure, you know, how many are returning and such because it's a bit too, you know, short a time period. But on social media, it's just been insane. I mean, we have people begging us. Right now, we only work with papers on maths, physics, basically STEM and life sciences, and we have people begging us to add political science and that sort of thing. We had an Indian guy ask us if he could base his PhD on the work that we're doing. We have Peruvian people asking us if we were willing to attend their conference. Like, everyone's just extremely excited. We have some quotes for you guys if you want to see them.
So we've had a lot of questions. The question is, because I can see a big timer in front of me here in the front row, is there any interest financially in FuseMind, do you think? It's this kind of Mexican standoff, it always happens.
I think your valuation is punchy for something that's at this stage of development. I think for you to expect to retain 90% of the equity in the business for quite a significant investment at this stage, I don't think you could justify a £300,000 valuation for your business. You've got an MVP that's been running for 5 days, and I'd like to see more information about how people have fed back. But I think there's something interesting here, and I might be interested in helping you with some of that money, but the valuation has got to come right down.
So, can I just So, I've been conferring with Andy here. And by the way, one of the things that actually didn't come out in the introduction here, so I just sort of talk a little bit here. So Andy and I actually met because we are, as far as we know, the unique two people in the world who are both graduates of electronics engineering here, and also went on to do an MBA at INSEAD, which is voted by, well, the Financial Times considers to be the best business school in the world. And obviously after that, then we both had, reasonably good careers.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
The Financial Times said we were the best business school in the world, better than Harvard, better than Stanford, all these places. So Andy and I have been discussing, and I can see also some relevance to the last year's investment. I can see also some relevance to some other things that I'm doing. So we'd like to offer you, the 30K, but given we think it's a bit punchy, given that we think that we will bring a lot of value to you, we're both quite experienced in coaching people and stuff like that. We'd like to offer you 30K, but for 20% of the company versus 10%.
I'm going to give you a second to think about that because that's quite exciting. So, I mean, if you guys want to have a little chat or you want to confer, that's fine. I love the tension when this happens. Remember what I told you about negotiating.
I think you guys really believe in the company. So would you guys be willing to say 30K for 15%?
Chris was wavering there for a second. I mean, you could go alone, Chris. You could do this alone. Do you need Andy on your side?
Yes, he does.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Absolutely. Because Andy and I can both, I think we complement each other. We complement each other well. And I've got some other things that I'm kind of interested in, so I'd like to save, my powder for that as well. So.
Can I just say, because you might be wavering a little bit, but I feel quite strongly actually that what we've offered is a really, really fair offer, and actually for a business that's just getting going, and effectively, well, one of you might be able to start to work full time from June onwards, and the rest of you are going to be hopefully spending a lot of your time contributing towards it. But it's I think and I think like Chris says, I think I can see a lot of areas where we could get you working on some amazing things that could be very, very, very valuable. I'm not personally totally convinced that the project you're working on today is the most interesting commercial opportunity, but I admire the fact that you've got that off the ground and that you're here today. But I think it's a fair. What I was trying to get to saying is that I think what we've offered is a fair valuation.
By the way, I just want to add a few other things. So, and certainly, as I said, the company that I own is organising this huge AI conference in Amsterdam in October, and so certainly, I'll get you some free tickets for that. And there's some really. No, but so there's some cool speakers in there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the head of AI at Uber and the head of the we got a really world-class set of speakers coming along there. So what I want to say to you as well is that I'm indirectly plugged in pretty heavily to the AI community. It's just I don't understand AI, which is actually why I'm interested in working with you guys, because I think you represent for me somehow kind of a bit of a brain trust. Which is, and as Andy said, I've got quite a few other, ideas about where your stuff can be thing. And bearing in mind also, I would like to say is that the AI community, I'm also quite, we're partnered with a thing called City AI, which is two guys who are really, really into the whole AI community, and they organise AI events all across the country. But beg pardon, across the world. So like in Sweden and Copenhagen, and in that community there are a lot of academics as well. So I have quite strong academic connections as well.
So that's they've done a great pitch.
So what I'm saying, same to you, is that as Andy says, you're getting a great deal.
Yeah, I'm going to put that on hold for a second because we said Lohan was interested. So I'm just going to come back to Lohan and say, has that changed your mind at all?
I'd take Chris's money.
You would be sort of declaring yourself out.
I think before these guys pitched in and we just had a quick chat as well, I would have. I still think that the valuation that you've offered at is too high, and hence I'm out.
So it comes back to Chris and Andrew. So they've come back saying, they haven't. That's not negotiating, guys. Really, is it? Going 20? No, we stick at 20. Any comeback from FuseMind?
We're happy to take it, guys.
Amazing. Wow. I didn't honestly think it would happen that quickly. So really well done, guys. These guys have been trying, working on this for the last year, and they've really been targeting Dragon's Den. They planned their whole roadmap. They got their launch on Monday for the very point that they could show this great rise. They've worked incredibly hard. So really well done, guys. Brilliant.